Ozzy Osbourne's final appearance under the stage lights came on a warm July night in 2025, back where it all began, Birmingham, England. At Villa Park, beneath a sky lit by fireworks, the Prince of Darkness sat on a skull-adorned throne, his voice rasping through Crazy Train and Paranoid, while thousands of fans chanted every line. It was not a night of sorrow but of wild celebration. Four founding members of Black Sabbath on the same stage, flanked by rock titans who owed them everything. Age and illness had slowed his body. Parkinson's disease forced him to perform seated, but the spirit of John Michael Osbourne, born in nearby Aston in 1948, burned as fiercely as it did half a century earlier when heavy metal was just a rumor in a smoky rehearsal room. Ozzy's childhood offered few hints of global stardom. The son of a toolmaker and a factory worker, he shared a cramped, terraced house with 5 siblings. School was torment. Undiagnosed dyslexia left him feeling stupid, and classmates mocked his stutter. He sought refuge in Beatles records and vaudevillian comedy, dreaming of stages far beyond Birmingham's industrial haze. Trouble arrived early. At 15, he left school, working stints in a slaughterhouse and on construction sites. Petty theft landed him in Winson Green prison for 6 weeks, a grim taste of what failure could become. When he emerged, he promised himself music would be his escape. That escape took shape in 1968, when Ozzy answered a singer-wanted ad on a music shop notice board. Guitarist Tony Iommi, bassist Geezer Butler, and drummer Bill Ward joined him to form Earth, soon renamed Black Sabbath. Instead of mimicking blues, they embraced the eerie rumble of factory life, writing songs about war, madness, and the devil. In 1970, the band released its self-titled debut and the follow-up Paranoid, records defined by Iommi's sinister riffs and Ozzy's haunting wail. Hearing Iron Man, fans sensed something utterly new, music that felt like a hammer on sheet metal, yet strangely liberating. By the mid-70s, Sabbath's gothic vision had reshaped rock culture, but success magnified the band's vices. Ozzy's consumption of alcohol, cocaine, and pills became legend. By 1979, unable to function, he was fired from the band he had helped invent. Exiled and adrift, Ozzy plummeted into a Los Angeles hotel haze until a tenacious young manager named Sharon Osbourne refused to let him disappear. She assembled a new band with virtuoso guitarist Randy Rhoads and coaxed Ozzy into the studio. The result, Blizzard of Oz in 1980, stunned critics. Crazy Train blended pop melody with metal muscle, and Mr. Crowley unveiled Ozzy's fascination with the occult. Tragedy struck when Rhoads died in a 1982 plane crash, but the album's triumph proved Ozzy could thrive beyond Sabbath. Throughout the 80s, he released Diary of a Madman, Bark at the Moon, and The Ultimate Sin, cementing a solo persona equal parts clown and shaman. Misadventures followed, biting the head off a dove at a record label meeting, urinating near the Alamo while wearing Sharon's dress, and the infamous bat-biting incident in Des Moines. Each scandal amplified his notoriety, yet beneath the theatrics was a gifted melodist who pushed metal onto mainstream radio. Ozzy married Sharon in 1982. Their union was tempestuous. She once stabbed him with a hairpin on tour, and he nearly strangled her during a drunken blackout. But it became the bedrock of his survival. Together they raised 3 children, battled lawsuits, and in 1996 launched Ozfest, a festival that gave Slipknot, Korn, and System of a Down their first massive audiences. Ozzy transformed from liability to patriarch, urging new bands to honor the music's roots while carving their own paths. In 2002, MTV's reality series The Osbournes turned the family into unlikely cultural ambassadors. Viewers adored Ozzy shuffling around his mansion, ranting about lost remotes and misbehaving dogs. The show demystified the monster. He became everyone's foul-mouthed dad, proof that legends still take out the trash. Physical crises multiplied. A 2003 ATV crash shattered his collarbone and punctured a lung. Surgery-related staph infections followed. He endured hand tremors and nerve pain, finally revealing a Parkinson's diagnosis in 2019. Yet even as disease threatened his balance, his creativity persisted. Albums like Black Rain, Scream, and Patient Number 9 blended nostalgia with fresh fury, earning Grammys and collaborations with Jeff Beck, Post Malone, and members of Metallica. He told interviewers that making art felt like breathing, painful some days but necessary for life. Reunions with Black Sabbath punctuated the years. In 1997, the original quartet reformed for Ozfest. In 2013, their final studio album, 13, debuted at #1 in 13 countries. The subsequent End Tour closed in Birmingham in 2017, but Ozzy's vow to fans, "You haven't heard the last of me," proved true. Even in partial retirement, he envisioned one last roar in his hometown. That dream became reality in 2025 when doctors cleared him for a single appearance. The all-day event at Villa Park drew metal royalty, reflecting the enormity of his influence. Metallica thundered through Master of Puppets, Guns N' Roses tore into Welcome to the Jungle, and Pantera's surviving members unleashed Walk. Each act paused to salute the man they called Godfather. At dusk, the stage darkened. From beneath an iron gate rose a throne carved with bats and skulls. Ozzy, hair silver, cross glinting, accepted the microphone. His opening, "All Aboard," sent a shock wave through the stadium. "Crazy Train" erupted, fans hollering the riff louder than the amps. Between songs, he laughed, cursed, and thanked Birmingham for everything. Tony Iommi led Sabbath through War Pigs. Geezer's bass rumbling like artillery. Bill Ward battering drums with deliberate fury. Ozzy's voice cracked during NIB, and he gestured for the audience to sing. Far from weakness, the moment felt intimate, an aging warrior leaning on his army one final time. The set ended with Paranoid. As fireworks burst overhead, Ozzy raised his arms and shouted, "Never say die!" The stadium shook with love. When the lights dimmed, Ozzy retreated to a backstage dressing room swarming with grandchildren, bandmates, and friends. He sat tired but smiling, calling the concert the greatest night of his life. Reporters outside debated whether this truly was farewell. Doctors insisted extended touring would be impossible. Yet Ozzy left a crack in the door. Future studio recordings, perhaps a charity single, maybe even virtual reality shows. He has never believed in finality, only in transformation. Ozzy's influence extends beyond music. He helped destigmatize mental health, speaking openly about depression and addiction. He championed animal rights after decades of onstage theatrics with Wayward Creatures. He endorsed charities for Parkinson's and pediatric cancer. He offered second chances to musicians battling their own demons, quietly paying rehab bills and hospital fees. In industry boardrooms, he advocated for heavy metal, a genre once dismissed as noise, to be archived, studied, and celebrated like classical music. Universities now teach Sabbath's riffs as cultural milestones, and Hall of Fame exhibits preserve his stage costumes for future historians. Critics sometimes reduce Ozzy to antics, but his artistry endures precisely because he allowed chaos to mingle with vulnerability. Listen to "Mama, I'm Coming Home," where his voice is cracked yet tender. It reveals the boy behind the Bat mythology. Or the sorrowful wail in Dreamer, reflecting on ecological collapse. He understood that darkness is potent only when contrasted with pain and hope. In blending these elements, he forged a language that millions use to confront their own fears. As 2025 draws to a close, Sharon plans a coffee table memoir featuring photos from the final show. Proceeds benefiting Parkinson's research. Their children, Amy, Kelly, Jack, and stepdaughter Jessica, curate a digital archive of Ozzy's audio diaries, stage sketches, and scribbled lyrics. Fans worldwide share memories. The first time Iron Man rattled a bedroom wall, the Ozfest mosh pits that birthed lifelong friendships, the night a shy guitarist met Ozzy backstage and found courage to pursue music. These stories prove his real legacy lives not just in charts but in human hearts. When historians look back, they will see more than a spectacle of bats and blood. They will note a working-class kid who captured the anxieties of the industrial age, whose songs became anthems for war veterans, factory workers, and misfit teenagers. They will see an artist who fell many times, into addiction, injury, humiliation, and always clawed back with humor and humility. They will see a family man who, despite chaos, loved fiercely and inspired the world to embrace itself, flaws and all. Ozzy Osbourne's final bow at Villa Park does not silence him. It crystallizes 5 decades of music, mayhem, and resilience. Somewhere in Birmingham, a child picks up a guitar, tries to imitate that first impossible Iron Man riff, and feels a spark. In that moment, Ozzy's voice lives on. And as long as heavy metal roars, the Prince of Darkness remains its eternal, beating heart.